welcome to today's Just Chopsing Podcast. And today with David and myself, we have the amazing Daniel Byrne from Revival Black. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on as well.
That's no problem, man. I mean, thank you for coming on.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute
To be
pleasure.
honest. I mean, as a mega star of your stature, I mean...
Wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I do appreciate the compliment.
Well, you're getting there, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
You've got a new album coming out now in a few weeks, I guess, maybe a week.
Very, a week on Friday.
9 days.
Well, it'll probably already be out by the time this comes out now.
No, we've got to get this out before the album comes out.
9 days, this, next Sunday.
We'll find out whether we have to talk in past or present tense.
No, we'll get it out to make sure that you...
What date is it next
chart.
Sunday? Hang on a minute.
26th.
Right, this will come out on the 26th.
Oh, we need to get it out on the 25th. We're going to have to break our...
Yeah.
When's
break
the
our
album
rules.
coming out? The 29th?
The album's out on the 26th.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, then. I'll have to release it a day early.
Because...
This is all great viewing, you know that, don't you?
Yeah, sales on the 25th will go to their chart position on the 26th.
That's very correct.
Ah.
And that is a huge push for us. And a great reason as to why we were able to put things on vinyl for a change, which we didn't do on our debut album and all the rest of it. So it has been interesting to see how this release works in terms of the charts and how bands go about that. It's been a learning curve for all of us, but it's really interesting to see the dynamics of that behind the scenes and the business side of thing that we didn't get to do on our first album as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay. Are you signed to Earache?
We're not. We are using their services in terms of distribution.
Yeah, right, okay, yeah.
We're not officially under Earache's label,
Okay.
but they are helping us basically put all of our songs onto your Spotify's and your Amazon and everything else. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
All right, cool.
So if you smash it, then are they going to sign you? Has there been any?
That is absolutely not for me to say. But we know a lot of the guys who are on Earache, and we know a lot of the guys from Earache, and we love them all equally. So we wouldn't miss. But yeah, no, they're all great guys.
Yeah, they are a great label, aren't they? You know, a lot of the bands that we follow and talk
But that's the thing as well, actually, because there's a lot of bands we're very friendly with. Like our first tour was with Scarlet Rebels. Obviously, they signed to Earache very recently, and they placed number 7 in the chart. So the track record alone is unbelievable, and especially for new rock bands, I think the flag's never been higher in terms of saying to people, you know, these bands are placing in the top 10 of the official UK. It's not just some Mickey Mouse thing. It's you know, the real charts again, and stuff like that hasn't happened realistically since, like, you know, the 80s or when it was mainstream.
Yeah. Are you saying my charting on Mixcloud is Mickey Mouse?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't dare.
My radio show, or our radio show, was number 11 in the Mixcloud grunge charts this week.
Definitely got to be Mickey Mouse then.
There are a lot of files and stations in our Mixclouds. That's very impressive.
And that's global. That was global as well.
Exactly, that's the point. I know about 100 just from local stations and stuff, so never mind bloody all over the place.
Yeah. I was quite chuffed about that. Steve wasn't very impressed, but
Funny?
nah.
Your own.
He said that's like being big in Japan. I said I'd love to be big in Japan, to be honest.
I can retire if you're big in Japan. That's
Yeah.
Being big anywhere is a bonus.
That's what I said.
So the second album is out on the 26th then, and it's Under the Light. So I've been listening to some of the singles that have come off it, and See You Again, out of the 4, is definitely my favourite. And I was saying to Terry before we went on air that for me that's the best single I have heard this year, without a doubt. Of all the new releases, that is the best single I've heard this year.
Thank you very, very much.
Me and my wife were listening to it, and she said, "Who wrote the song?" And I said, "I'm not sure. I haven't dug into it deep, but it really, really shows off your vocal capability."
Thank you.
It's absolute immense, mate. Absolutely immense.
It's an interesting one because the whole album and the writing side of the album, you're going to hear this a million times, but it stemmed during COVID. So there's a lot of obviously there's a lot of problems, but I don't think the capacity and the ideas on this album would have been possible without being completely locked down. I mean, because the momentum we had going into COVID, basically, we were on our first tour with Scarlet Rebels. That was the Rising Tour's co-headline. And from that, we had Ramblin' Man booked, we had Steelhouse, we had Planet Rock, Winter's End. There was so many festivals and showcase gigs that we were like, you know, this is it, this is great. And the rug got pulled beneath our feet a little bit because we were only, I want to say 6 to 8 months as a band at that point, as Revival Black. So it's relatively new still. Minus COVID, we've probably been together a year and a half, and obviously the extra, 1 to 2 years of doing nothing but still being a band is added on to that. But yeah, the fact that we were locked down, we couldn't go out and gig, we were kind of, well, what do we do now? So it's like, oh, well, now we have the time. Let's write some songs and do that. But obviously the issue then was we can't go into a room and play songs together because you're not allowed, or at least until, you're allowed back into your office and all that kind of thing. And so there was a lot of file sharing and Google Drives and that kind of thing because it was, and we've never written like that, ever. It's always been, throw some ideas in the practice room and go, oh, I like that bit. If I sing this or drum this bit and, that kind of thing. But it was a very almost mechanical way of writing it because it was very much like, well, that idea can fit with that one. So we put them together and it's, that.
Yeah.
And it was it was like a jigsaw. It was strange. It was the way of approaching it. But having said that, I do feel that, especially compared to the first album's very just 100% rock. Like, this is what you get for the entire album. The writing on this one, maybe because of that, maybe just because of experience of songwriters, that kind of thing. There's a lot more dynamics, and I feel like the singles from the first album, we've kind of ran from there. And from what we know succeeded and what didn't, and that kind of thing, it's a case of, all right, well, let's take the key bits of that and then change it a little bit and advance also so more dynamics and louder. I mean, on this new album, there's like a ballad that starts off acoustic, and it's my personal favorite song on the album. However, it's such a change of pace to what you'd be used to if you've only heard our debut album.
Okay.
So it's been the whole thing's been a journey. See You Again, I absolutely love that. That was in my head the same as Wide Awake from our first album, which was our lead single from the debut album, and it's been a difficult one choosing the singles because it depends what you try and class as a single, because some of the songs are longer than 4 minutes, say.
Yeah.
And even if we love them to bits for radio play and for unless you do a radio edit, which takes a lot of the soul out of it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's about 2 or 3 songs on the album that would be singles if it weren't for, just the logistics of it.
Yeah.
But See You Again is definitely probably top 3 songs on the album for myself, at least.
Okay,
and we're very, very proud of what we've done.
Yeah. Oh, it's really, really good. So I loved your first album anyway. And then, but for me, what I've heard so far, it's a real step up again from the first album. The first album was absolutely awesome, but I'm really looking forward to listening to this now on the 26th.
Thank you so much. And again, there might have been a pressure constraint on this one because obviously for everyone's first album, there's ideas that you've sat on for years.
Yeah.
So the guys knew each other a while before I was working with them, that kind of thing. So there's ideas that stem from there. There's stuff I brought in when we became Revival Black, that kind of thing. And then for this one, because it was kind of the dreaded second album, we were going, all right, what do we do? But I feel like, I think as a group, as a unit, we write probably better under pressure. And when there's a rocket up our backsides going, we need to get something done, I feel like there's more sparks of kind of, oh, that could work, or let's try something else. And it was really interesting to navigate, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's very good.
Yeah, it's good to hear. Yeah, brilliant. So when did you actually join the band then? Because I know they were originally known as Black Cat Bones.
That's correct.
Were you in the band then, or was it?
Not originally, not originally. The Black Cap Bone, and I was in bands in Liverpool myself, and we always played the same shows and clubs. And so
Okay.
I knew them all anyway. And then I met up with the guys one day when obviously they departed with their singer and all the rest of it. And we were jamming and we kind of went, this could work effectively. And then when we started writing together, we were like, I think we did play maybe 2 or 3 shows as Black Cap Bones with me as the vocalist. But as soon as we started the new material, we kind of went, this is so different to what we're doing. And there are 1 or 2 elements on the first album that just as a respectful point of view to go, this is our history and we'll take this over, maybe change lyrics or melodies and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, the groundwork was there. And that's why I think with this new album, and as Revival Black as opposed to that, whereas the singles were the songs that I wrote with the guys and that kind of thing, where this new album is like a complete team effort. Yeah. And it's got more of my influence on it because I've been here the whole time, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a change of pace. But
okay.
I cannot remember the year for the life of me because the past 3 years have been mental. But as I say, Revival Black was roughly a year before. I think it was the October, the year
19
before.
then. Yeah.
Became Revival Black, yeah.
Oh, that's
cool. Yeah, and you've been really busy gigging and everything, obviously, and then you got your promotion show coming out on the 27th, but you're at Stone Dead on the 26th.
Well, that's it. So the original date of the album launch would have been about 2 months ago. But because selfishly Adele and Iron Maiden decided to release albums, it meant that everybody else couldn't get the plastic for vinyls.
Yeah.
Who's going to buy them?
I don't know.
Who buys Adele albums? You know what I mean?
No, but it was difficult because we then had to. We were like, do we release it and then not have half the stock people have ordered, which is it's a real shame. And there's I've ordered vinyls myself for bands from like last year that I'm still waiting on because of the issues. And I think the plant was in like Czech Republic or something like that, where we got the things from, and it's logistically a nightmare. So obviously we just thought the best thing to would be push it back so everybody can get it at the same time. It's fair, it's released. And it just so happened that there was a perfect weekend where it can clash with our appearance at Stone Dead Festival.
Okay.
And we were like, well, we're appearing there anyway. What a great celebration for the album to be on, an amazing stage. I'm lucky to have played it before with Myke Gray, so I know what the festival is like. And it's incredible. The whole team are incredible. The vibe, everything. So as a party and a release and also the first chance for everybody to buy the album in real life.
Yeah.
The thing as a whole, we just thought that's a great weekend to do it. Why not?
So you'll have plenty of merch to go with then on the day of the release, will you?
We're trying our best. I mean, we've got plenty of vinyls and CDs if you want them.
That's what you want.
The other thing is just got a mad rush to get the rest of it in because we've still got the remnants of our, the tour merch and the album merch from the past album. But we didn't want to order any more stock of that because we know the new stuff's coming in. So we're trying to. It's a case of balancing it and making sure we've got all the right things for the shows. But it's been fun. It has been fun.
Good.
Yeah, that's cool. And how was it playing with Myke then?
Oh, it's been unreal. Absolutely unreal.
Because not only you played this recent run of Myke stock, I mean, you played with him, you sung with him actually for the last couple of years, I think.
It's interesting, this one, because we were laughing about it ourselves in the dressing room the other week, whereas I'm almost certain it's been 2 years, maybe even 3, I'm not too sure. I've played 7 shows with him. And it feels like we've known each other for years, like absolutely, and we have. But in terms of like a working capacity, it's just been the strangest thing because by the start of Myke Stock and those 3 farewell shows, we played with together as a band, a unit 3 times.
Okay.
So knowing the guys the way I do and knowing Myke the way I do, it was almost unfathomable to think that like there's no way there's going to be in 3 shows. I was lucky enough when we first started working together. It was a case of like, well, he asked me, I'd love you to sing, but you need to promise me, I think it was Stone Dead, Planet Rock, and there was another festival as well. So you need to promise me that you can make these shows, not, you know, because commitments.
Yeah.
And I was very much in the camp of, I already have tickets for these anyway, so I'm going to be there whether you know or not. So if you want me to do it, I'm more than happy to do, you know, kind of. And fortunately, that was the start of just the most amazing connection and friendship. And because within the past few years, I've learned so much. I've learned so much. He's one of my favorite people, and it's one of these things where it's been invaluable for myself.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The shows are incredible, and we can talk about the shows, but just as a connection, as a friend.
Yeah.
What you and even my approach to singing has changed because of all of the things that he spoke to me about when he's worked with producers and you know, just little nuggets of information that you take on board, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I can feel myself singing differently now to what I was when I started singing with Myke, and even the way I approach performing on stage and that kind of thing. It's a whole new
dynamic
perspective, even. Yeah. It is. It's something that because Myke has done some incredible things, been some incredible band, and all the guys in the band are equally as incredible and have done amazing things. So to work at that level, and then it's either you rise to it or you get left behind.
Yeah.
That is the way it works, and fortunately we've gelled as a unit. But those little extra things are the things that have really pushed my game up, I think, or just mentally. So I need to be aware of different things than I would have been 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's very.
Go on, sorry, Ted. Go on.
I was going to say he's very professional, isn't he?
Yes, and you can't expect anything less. I mean, to have longevity in this business, there's got to be a manner of professionalism, regardless. I mean, every time, because I'm still a fan of music, so I will turn up at gigs. I'll go to festival. I don't know a single musician who doesn't still absolutely love gigs and, you know, go and see the favorite band, that kind of thing. But when you turn up somewhere, you are still working.
Yeah.
If one person in that crowd knows who you are, then you're representing yourself.
Yeah, of course you are. Yeah.
Really interesting thing where you've got to be professional, because especially in this day and age when everyone's got a camera and everyone's got a video, and I was going to say, just even some, you know, the Bon Jovi shows where his voice may have been wavering, where 20, 30 years ago, whatever, you wouldn't have had a clue because no one's really put it online for everybody to see, and you're not, you know, hundreds of thousands of people can't comment on it.
Yeah.
However, nowadays it's very much like someone could film me from next door and put it on, you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. So it's a different world we're in, but it does mean that the way you approach the job and the business, in the same way that it's a completely different industry now than it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's a learning curve, and as we progress as a society and the industry, you've got to do it yourself. And that professionalism, obviously, in Myke's credit, has not changed from the 80s when he was in UFO till now when we're playing the Myke Stock shows and Steelhouse and those kind of things.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I've been lucky enough to watch 2 gigs with you and Myke, and I was Steelhouse and Planet Rock. And
Planet Rock as well. I saw you at Steelhouse Festival.
Yeah, and what I'm amazed at is for you to say you'd only played 7 shows, because you're all so tight, and you know, and I said to Terry after Steelhouse, I knew it was going to be emotional anyway, because obviously it was Myke's last show potentially.
Yeah.
But I just said, you know, you didn't miss a note. There wasn't a beat miss. It was just spot on. It was such a good performance, and me and my buddy was stood at the front watching and everything. So I said to you, didn't I, after the show, like I was tears coming to my eyes on Tower of Strength, and my throat had gone and everything. And it was for me, it was one of the best performances of the weekend. It was absolutely awesome.
Thank you, and I think that's a credit to Myke and the band beyond me, because we, as a group, we had 2 days of rehearsal before the Myke Stock shows, and then the Myke Stock shows were then pretty much our rehearsal for the following week at Steelhouse Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And for each of the shows that we did previously, we would have had either 1 or 2 days of rehearsal. So for the Myke Stock shows, we had 25 songs in the set.
Yeah, I know.
It was a 7-song encore. It was 3 days back to back. No, so the comprehension of getting the entire set down within these two days of rehearsal was a task, and it was swapping and changing in the weeks before the rehearsal. So everyone was like on the toes, and as I say, it's beyond me. I mean, there's lots of words to learn on my behalf, in all fairness, and we always make this joke as well, but 90% of the songs were released before I was born. So I'm not familiar with all of the songs. I know, obviously, because it's a really weird full circle for me, this, because when I was growing up, and I still am to some, I was the biggest fan of Red, White and Blues, which is obviously one of Myke's bands. So it was like the Taster CD in a classic rock magazine. It was on the front cover, and I think it was 3 or 4 songs on there from the album. And then I went to get the album. I saw them supporting Whitesnake and Chickenfoot and all of these great bands. And one of my favorite songs ever was Count for Nothing. And there's so many elements to it. So when I started working with Myke, or when I first saw Myke on the scene kind of thing, I knew he was from Skin, I knew he was from Jagged Edge. I did not realise myself Myke was a part of Red, White and Blues.
Okay.
It sounds ridiculous, but it was only when Myke appeared on my radar again, and when he was doing shows prior to even when I was working with him, I was looking at the set list, I was going, hang on a minute. And then I did my research back and went, oh my God, like, this is the guy who wrote some of my favourite songs ever.
Yeah.
And then to be singing those songs on stages that I've been going to for years as a fan, so your Planet Rockstocks and your Steelhouse and those kind of thing. I've been there for years because, again, I love music, so I will go to these things anyway. But to be on the other side of the barrier and to be performing, it's the weirdest full circle thing for me. And the emotions that you probably felt at Steelhouse as well, like, it's, for me on stage, singing Count for Nothing is equally as difficult to maintain composure, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I could easily, if I think about what's happening too much, it could go like that, and I get emotional. So it's one of those where you've got to be just in the moment and performing.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, just living it. When you're living it, you're living your dream, really.
I am. Honest to God, it's one of those things where when you're growing up and everyone's going, what do you want to do when you grow up? That kind of. I've never wanted to do like a 9-to-5 job. There was a moment where I wanted to be a vet, I think.
Okay.
I love animals, that kind of thing, and I really wanted to do that. And then, as you went through school and college, and I didn't go to university. I went to college for music in the end because I just went, well, if I turn up at a gig, no one's going to go, well, what did you get in your degree for music? Or they're just going to go, oh, you can sing, or you can play guitar. So in my head, I was like, I may as well immerse myself in the only thing I truly care about. So for me, I don't know any different. I mean, when I was at school, I think my dad took me to a gig in Manchester literally every single night of the week. So, and I was coming back and going to class and then seeing Whitesnake in Manchester and, that kind of thing. And so I've never known any different. So for me, this is just everything.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well, then you're a lot similar to Myke, really.
Yeah.
Because
I think I am. It's a different approach, but the same mindset.
Yeah.
And because there's a lot he's brought out in me. Because I know you've spoken to Myke yourselves, haven't you?
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's a lot. Some people may think some things come across as intense, but that intensity is also crossed with that professionalism aspect of it. And there's a lot of stuff I get, but it's just nice to see somebody else wording it in a way where you go, yes, that's it. That's what I'm thinking, but can't really express.
Well, it's also passion, isn't it?
Well, I'll be honest. If you weren't 100% passionate about music, I think this would be absolute hell. Because there's times when you're stuck in a van for the 10th hour in a traffic jam on the M6 going to somewhere and you want to kill each other because you're fed up with breathing. Or you got to really love service stations because that's you for the best part of 3 weeks.
Yeah, expensive sandwiches then.
Oh yeah, and your skins as well. But I don't need to tell you that. and stuff where if you're recording an album and the days are like 6 a.m. till 2 in the morning, and then you do the same the next day, and then everyone's arguing over like the slightest differences where, as a punter, no one would even pick up on it. But you're like, no, this has got to be this one, and you have like a full blood. And it's those kind of things where if you didn't love music, you would just lose the plot. Like, and most of us have.
That's very true.
But there's a certain degree of it where you go like, you need to be into this, because otherwise you see why the people who are in it for the wrong reasons end up dwindling out. Because there's no way that you can withstand. I mean, and the second you get to like international touring level, when like your routines and itineraries just become mental, or you've got press all day and that kind of thing, I think you'd suffer.
Yeah,
you would.
But I love it. I love the fact you can go, oh, we're doing a photo shoot today and a music video tomorrow, and then we're driving down to Gravesend to do it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So how do you manage your voice then? Because like you said, like with the stuff you did with Myke was 3 days in a row and it was 25 songs, and then looking at the from Stone Dead on, you got back to back venues again with that, and how do you rest your voice in between shows?
This has been equally as interesting for me, because I always say this, and I am getting better, but I am not a trained singer. I self-taught. I'm a guitarist by trade. I only started singing because I couldn't find a singer.
Okay.
And it was years and years of just being awful. You learn what doesn't work and what does work and that kind of thing. But I think part of the issue was because of that, and because I never originally went to see a vocal coach and that kind of thing, that you get into bad habits.
Yeah.
And if you're playing shows night after night, I could play a 30-minute set, blow my voice out, and not be able to speak the next day. So this has been, I mean, and then to do these Myke Stock shows where I knew I had to look after myself, because that would be, 2 hours, 2.5 hours every single night, that kind of thing. I was like, so the self-discipline then comes into practice. And then, I was steaming everything under the sun. I had honey, I had pineapple juice, because that helps apparently, and all of these things that I wouldn't normally do. But I was like, you can't be sitting there and have a crap diet and eat chocolate all day and expect to go on stage in the night.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you are your own instrument.
Yeah.
And if you treated the guitar really poorly and you got it dirty and you broke everything, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same applies to the voice, apart from the fact that it is so much more fragile because it's you. So if you're ill, if you haven't got a good night's sleep, if you haven't got that kind of thing, you can wake up the next day and go, I can't do this. So it's a lot of self-discipline. I mean, I sometimes don't have the best diet at all. But when it comes to gig days, I'm like, I just need to, dairy's bad for you. And then, anything with acid can erode your throat a little bit and all that kind of thing. And then you start thinking of everything. I know a lot of people don't talk on gig days. And I was trying my best not to during those kind of shows. And I might have to again next weekend when we've got the Stone Dead and the album launch and that kind of thing. But I'm in this current battle of, I've now got a vocal coach who I see every now and again. She's amazing and she's given me good advice. The issue is it's taking that advice while still being stuck in the old ways on stage. So there's this internal conflict of like, you ultimately, like, muscle memory goes to do it a certain way, and then you've got to think before you do it and go, actually, I need to pay attention to what I'm being told here because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And it alters the way you sing on stage, but because you're not used to it, you feel like you're not doing it right. So yeah, it's a really interesting internal conflict that I'm still going through it now. However, I feel like I'm paying more attention to that side of things, which is good. But I just need to make it so I'm constantly doing that type of thing.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
You need to look after it,
Yeah.
Well, I want to be doing this when I'm 70. And there's that many singers where obviously they are now getting to this age where they're struggling. And if I'm not careful, that could easily be me. But there's some singers, so Graham Bonnet is still out, and he can still bloody sing.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, exactly. So it's with the right care and attention, I think. you can have a prolonged experience in the music industry, which is what I aim to do.
Yeah, I think a lot of it as well is your hearing. You need to look after your ears as well, you know.
And that's the thing. I never. I mean, only for these last few shows, I invested in ear monitors.
Yeah.
To make sure that I wasn't doing that, because not only that, but when you're playing in a loud rock band and everyone behind you's turning the amps up halfway through a show and you're screaming over the top of it, it's just gonna wear yourself out. Yeah. And you may not notice it, but then you sure do the next morning. So it's there's so many different aspects, and this is the thing about working with different people, where you start to go, I didn't even think of that, but now you've mentioned it, how didn't think of it sooner?
Yeah.
And I'm just fortunate to have had that as early on as I have, whereas I could be 10 years down the line and of course serious damage to myself.
Yeah, yeah. How old are you then, Dan?
I am 25.
Yeah, there you go, Dave.
Yeah.
We were having this conversation before you came on air, actually.
I said I'm terrible with age, so he said to me, I said, don't put me on the spot. I'm not very good at things like that, because I said I wouldn't, because of your maturity, I wouldn't be surprised if you were older than what you were as well, with your mature
I appreciate that. Yeah. It's, but again, it's when you work in an industry with a lot of people who are older than you, and I've always been around older people, so it's not like I'm not saying old people, I'm saying older people. But you become used to that, and then you learn to converse with those kinds of people, and you I don't know, there's a certain level of maturity you need anyway, because this goes back to the professionalism aspect of it. It takes one thing if you're being immature, and that's it then. So I do appreciate that, but yeah, I was born in 97. Which harks back to my earlier comment of most of the Skin, well, all of the Skin catalogue.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah. Apart from the comeback, actually.
That's right, yeah. That's crazy, isn't it? That is crazy.
It's amazing. But it is a testament, especially with the Jagged Edge stuff, the test of time. I mean, it was incredible to see. And it was interesting to see, actually, because for the shows, you could really see, because Myke's been in like 3 or 4 or 5 different bands and projects, where you can see the pockets of the audience who are from which era of Myke. Because you can see, like, when we played the Skin song, that corner over there would pipe up and then get really excitable, and then you play a Jagged Edge song and then somebody else over here. And it was really cool to see just the vast array. I mean, obviously there's a lot of people who just, since Jagged Edge or they've just followed Myke through. But then obviously there's a Skin faithful and your Jagged Edge faithful, and it was lovely to just basically celebrate that entire catalogue with a room full of people who just wanted to be there and celebrate, a fantastic career.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
So how emotional was he after the Steelhouse gig?
That was tough. That was it's one of them where I think we were all sitting there in the dressing room, because we all just were flat out by that point, because it was just leave everything on the stage, because as opposed to the week before, we only had an hour, and there was an hour to give that same intensity and pick the right songs, and there wasn't even a great deal of time for talking, because we just wanted to go like bang, 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 this, and I think we got there and we just couldn't believe. I mean, it was incredible. The response was incredible. The atmosphere was incredible. It was one of those that you treasure forever. And to be sitting there going like, was that it? You know what I mean? And it's difficult. And for Myke, who's been doing it for forever, and he doesn't know any different, to have to step back from that, I can only imagine it must be very, very difficult. There's no stopping him creating music, and I don't think anyone would want that for a second.
No.
And that's not his intention either. Obviously, he's going to still keep creating music, but to have that kind of show as the end of a week of celebration kind of thing, it was what we needed from the shows, but it was also it was a bitter pill to swallow, I think, because it was that good.
Yeah.
It was like, what, can we have one more tomorrow?
Yeah.
Which is a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? But are you going to keep in touch when he goes to America?
Oh, absolutely. I've always told him, just give me a ring, I'll come over anytime.
Yeah. I mean, we obviously, we've spoken to him, and Yeah, we just hope he can find himself a band when he gets over there, or create a band or something. And
Well, yeah, I mean, Mike's probably said it to yourselves, but his love is songwriting,
yeah,
and he's always done it, and he always will do it. And I remember him saying, like, the touring is almost the byproduct of creating these songs. It's just, it's weird as a musician, because the only time that you realize these songs have any meaning is when you hear a crowd scream it back at you.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize how many people and to what extent these songs have reached until you see a crowd like that and you go, oh my God, there's 5,000 people who are all singing the words of Tower of Strength, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And even on a much smaller scale with Revival Black, it's a case of like, we'll play Wide Awake and there'll be people screaming it back at us, and we're going, this song's only been out for about a year and a half, and it's getting this incredible sing along, and we're going, in such a short space of time, how on earth have we reached X amount of people, and how do they care that much? And it's the only kind of thing a musician gets to gauge or monitor, like, the connection.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's we interact with everybody online and Facebook and stuff, but as a real guttural feeling, and there's nothing like it. So, as much as touring is a byproduct of creating these songs and doing that, it's equally as integral to a band or an artist or whatever to have that.
Yeah.
And as I say, regardless of what you think, I mean, once you've been involved in that for so long, it's very difficult to live without.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, I found it as a punt of mine. So, up until COVID and lockdown, most weekends I'd be out at a gig, even if it was, we got a local venue by us, and I'd pop up there, have a couple of beers and watch. Didn't even know it was on. Do you know what I mean? You just go up there and listen to live music, and that's what we like.
That's a lot of it, though, as well, isn't it? Like, it's not just the music; it's the experience, it's the community. The rock and roll community is, especially, I think, is just, it's very loving, but it's incredible. And you'll go to Festival A, and then you go to this next one, and you recognize the same people, or pockets of people who are from another one. You go, oh my God, that kind of thing, and then you realize you got shared. And then you learn and you see new bands. That's the reason for festivals, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
You want to be surprised, or you see the next thing and go, oh, they're going to be huge soon, and that kind of thing. And as I say, as a musician or a fan, it's exactly the same experience. And you do get that festival come down or gig come down. That's the reason it's so addictive. That's why you want to get to the next gig.
Yeah.
And that's why we all feel the same thing, because everybody there, regardless of what happens in their day-to-day lives, or come to the gig for a release. That at the end of the day, that's what it is. And whether that's people having a drink or seeing friends or seeing the music, whatever it is, everyone's there to enjoy themselves, or you at least hope to think so.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a few things happen at gigs, but the majority are there for a good time.
For a good time, yeah.
Yeah, definite. No, I agree with that. So you've got a really, really busy schedule coming up then.
Yeah.
And I've seen you guys are at Winter's End next year as well. I've already got my tickets for that, so that's going to be cool.
Be next January, I believe.
Yeah, that's going to be good. Back at Treco Bay again.
Which is incredible, because I'm so used to going there for Rockstock.
Yeah.
So it's obviously changed the location. We did play Winter's End. Can't remember, just after COVID, just before COVID, and that was when it was down in Poole. And I mean, a trek and a half for us, but it was one of the most amazing shows. And that was the first, I'd say, substantial show we did as a band that wasn't just, a club gig.
Okay.
We had one or two opportunities. We've done a few Hard Rock Hell where it's like very busy rooms, that kind of thing. But to play to that amount of people and have a Planet Rock certified event, that kind of thing. So that was a really special one. So to be invited back onto a Winter's End lineup and play again, it's incredible. And again, it's like you say, it's the same audience that we'd see at your Planet Rockstock or your Steelhouse. And it is funny, actually, because you can see in terms of festivals, it's certain crowds that you can kind of pinpoint to either certain areas in the country or certain genres. And there's a very much like the Planet Rock audience and those kind of festivals, it's one of our favourite in the world, and we love everybody there.
Yeah, like you said, you see a lot of the same faces, but
Yeah,
will you
I will add, the nice thing is as well, I'm seeing a lot of new faces, and whether it's a younger audience or not, because I don't know whether it's just generations bringing up the next one and going, this is. But there's been a lot of new people come to the shows, a lot of younger people, which I think is equally as important, because obviously we want this to carry on for as long as possible. And in 30, 40 years, when I'm still hopefully playing some music, you want that next generation doing, liking the same stuff that we like, don't you? Because it's...
Yeah.
You don't want it to die out with,
No. You do see it at the festivals, though, don't you? Because it's like, sorry, you do see it at the festivals, because where they have like the family camping and all that, and there's lots of youngsters coming out, and parents bringing their kids along.
The little battle jackets with all the patches on. You've got to love it, haven't you? It's adorable.
Yeah.
But that's it, and you can have faith then that there will be the next generation who love the same music that we love, and then there'll be bands younger than I am who will be coming up, and they'll be playing the same type of music, and we can just keep it alive effectively.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because were you supposed to be playing at Rock in the Bowl?
We were.
Are you going to be doing any? Because I see they've started to put some shows together now.
Yeah, we saw that one. We're all have other commitments on that date. Unfortunately, we were asked. I can't say that.
Okay.
But I think it's very difficult for us because we're not all there, so we're not able to be together. Largely because of just we've got that many commitments going into this album launch.
Yeah.
And also just dates that we've had booked for the best part of 2 years now that we still haven't finished. So it's funny because we've still got dates interspersed between our brand new dates that we've had since before COVID that we're going like, when are you coming to XYZ, my garden, wherever it is. And then we're going, well, we would have originally just played about a 30-minute set with old songs, but now we've got all these new ones. We have to rethink the way we approach it and what kind of, and where we are on lineups is differing because of that and all sorts. So it's really fun. It is really fun.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see how times change through it and how things have moved around.
Yeah.
Makes any sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool. Yeah, because you've got a couple of gigs coming up now with this album launch in Wales, haven't you? So you're at Fuel and Hangar 18 in maybe August and October as well. And
and they're headline shows as well. So we'll be able to do our full scope of a headline set. We're doing, I know next week for the album launch, we're going to do the new album in its entirety.
Oh, cool.
As well as all the old songs. So it's been a learning curve for us because we haven't even played them since we recorded them in the studio.
Yeah.
We've done the singles live, obviously, but like the extra tracks that we just haven't even touched on.
Yeah.
We've gone, well, we've got to play them, but how did we do it again? So it's and there's all the bits that catch you out, and those intricacies that we argued about in the studio. And now coming back to haunt us when we're trying to prepare for the gig. So it's been fun, but I can't wait to play some of them live. And again, it's the first time some people, even a Stone Dead, we're going to be playing a song that we haven't played for the first time live, which is, it's the ballad one, which is my personal favourite on the album.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
If all goes right, it'll be a moment, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if not, it'll be a different kind of moment.
Yeah.
Everyone will be there waving their candles. So they're not really candles.
Yeah.
They're mobile phone lights.
That's what it is now. And it's not lighters anymore.
No, it's not light. It's
iPads,
not. Yeah, it's all mobile phones. But do you collect anything, Dan?
I'd say recently I'd started collecting vinyl.
Okay.
Yeah, it's. I don't collect any. I mean, I have a fair few guitars, if that counts. But I've kind of not been in the pursuit of it that much anymore. I used to be. I was always looking for the next pedal or the next guitar or the next kind of amp or whatever it was. I've took a backseat now. When it became almost solely singing, I was a bit confused because I was like, well, what can I buy now?
An SM58?
Yeah, but when you've got one, you don't need 50.
No, you don't want to collect them, do you?
Well, this is what happened. So I ended up buying this ridiculous mic stand that I now have a lot, which lights up and does all cooks your dinner and that kind of thing. But I was like, well, I wanted to buy something that or throw money at something that I could have. So I got this mic stand. I was like, right, I've got that. Now, so only recently when I started getting like a record player, I was going like, well, despite the fact that all of the new albums that are coming out are completely digital and are not optimized for this whatsoever, I do really like having them. And it's not just that, but the artwork and stuff like that, I just find it really cool to hold, which again is probably the initial appeal for vinyl, because there's a reason that we've moved on from it. But because I never experienced that during my lifetime, because it was very much iPods and CDs and whatever else. It's nice to kind of hark back to that. And I've got a section of my dad's records and that kind of thing. And every now and again, I will get the chance to sit down and play it. But at the moment, I'm finding it hard to get the time. Yeah. But the nice thing is, because we've got different colours of our new vinyl and stuff, it is collectible. And I think there was a purple, red, blue, black. And the CDs. So we've got enough to kind of keep the collectors happy as well. And I'm going to get one of each and probably frame a couple and that kind of thing, just because I've never had that. The first album didn't have vinyl. Okay. So this is the first time for me I've ever held my own art on vinyl. Yeah. And that's special. That's really special, because it's something that you don't think you're going to have.
Yeah.
And for there to be a demand for it is another thing. But just to actually, even getting your first CD, stuff like that, it's unreal to see just the actual physical purchase. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Very good. Yeah, I've been hunting this crypto for the last few days.
Hunting which?
No, a crypto. Cryptocurrency.
Don't get me started on crypto. I'm gonna
Because go on.
I went down the rabbit hole quite far on that one. I've since calmed.
Yeah, I went down there a few years ago, and I was like, I got a bit into it, and then I bought some, and I just sort of thought, well, I'll just leave it. I bought some, and I thought I'll just leave it, and when I get to 60, maybe it'll be worth something,
Do we say now this is non-financial advice before we?
Yeah, there's no idea financial advice.
Jesus, but having said that, a little while ago I did buy one or two of them in the hope. I just held it for a bit. I made a little bit, nothing life changing at all. Yeah. But as you're probably aware, it crashed pretty hard recently.
Yeah. Well, now's the time to buy, really.
It is. I just got no money, so I'm not gonna. I'm not even gonna attempt it right now. By the time I get money again, it'll be rocking. The issue I have is I'd heard of Bitcoin literally like absolutely years ago.
So did I.
Did you?
Yeah. A friend of mine in work said, there's this thing called Bitcoin and we need to buy it. I was like, how the fuck are we going to buy that?
It's fake money you need to buy. Like, now I'm right.
Yeah, but how are you going to buy it? We just couldn't figure out how to buy it, That
was it. I was online and I saw it and I was going, that sounds really cool. But even the case of having to remember 12 passwords to
yeah.
I'm not going to remember that in 10 years' time. So there's no way on earth that there's any point in me getting this. And then obviously I'd have been multi-millionaire now, kind of thing. But,
yeah.
But we can all laugh at that, can't we? It's fine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was, because when he was telling me about it, I was like, what are you fucking talking about? And there's this thing called Bitcoin, and
I will be honest. When I started looking at it, I think it was actually Adam, our guitarist, who mentioned it again when I got interested, and I was going, so you buy money, but it's not real money, but it's got value, but there's no reason it has any value. But it's just wild.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But then the argument is, why has money got value? So for the same reason as money has value, this has value, and it's borderline gambling, but there's at least some of it has potential behind it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bit over my head, and I'm not going to be sitting here day trading anytime soon. So I'm gonna.
To be honest, I'd buy it for long-term investment anyway. Yeah. It's not. I'm not interested in day trading. I can't be doing with it.
Yeah, if I had any advice, it would be that. However, if I did, I'd lose money equally as fast. So I'm just not going to even say anything.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my original coins that I bought are fucking falling flat on their face at the moment. But so is everybody else's.
Yeah. Take
You
comfort
know.
in the fact that nobody's happy right now, and then you're fine. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So that's what's piqued my interest really, is because
That's really
crypto now is a bit low again.
yeah.
So I thought, well, I'll start looking around to see if there's any new coins coming out, And there's this one coin come out last year, September, I think.
Okay.
It's called Evergrow.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, you know it?
Yeah.
And I've been reading about it, and all these people have been moaning because they've all like buy thousands of pounds worth. And I read one guy, he bought about 4 grand, and it's worth about 300 quid today.
It's brutal. Like,
So I was like, right, I'm buying it.
okay. I imagine that.
If it's worth 300 quid today and it was worth 4 grand last year,
It'd be worth three pence next year.
now it's time to buy it, you know?
The thing is, though, you've got to be. I mean, not even just being nerdy on crypto, but you've got to be so careful. There was one recently that just plummeted to zero, and people had like.
Yeah, that was Terra Luna.
Yes, that's the one, and people had millions in it.
Well, it was worth over 100 quid. It was 105 or 100 quid a coin.
But it was meant to be stable, wasn't it? It was meant to have this thing where there's no way it can possibly crash because it's equivalent to £1, and
well, it got hacked.
Life savings, and you just go like, I mean, kind of their fault for trusting it rather than just a bank. But at the same time, you've got to feel for them because that's miserable.
Yeah. Well, it got hacked, didn't it?
Misery, yeah, exactly. And you just go like, can you imagine losing like everything?
Well, I looked at that as well, and I was like, fucking hell, that was worth 100. This time last year, that was worth 100 quid a coin, and now it's worth 0.0000009 of a penny. I'm buying some. So I bought like 20 quid's worth, and I've got like 1.5 million coins, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously the Terra Luna community are really frantically trying to rebuild this coin because it's gone away now because they've split. There's a new Terra coin.
Yeah.
And the old classic now is being run by a separate community. Obviously, they're all shareholders and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're obviously going to want to try and make it work again.
Oh, it's fine. I'll buy it. It'll go down again. So just
No, don't buy it now. I bought it.
I ain't buying it.
But now it's at 0.00009.
Yeah.
It's worth a punt for 20 quid.
I don't get how it works because there's no commodity backing it up. So if you buy gold or buy gold bullion or you buy, I said to you, frozen orange juice because we were talking about trading places and stuff. I get that because it's a physical commodity that you're buying into, but I don't understand why you're buying into us. I haven't done it. I really don't get what it is. I got to be able to see something for my money.
Well, it's basically technology, isn't it?
Yeah,
But what is it? What are you buying?
None.
See? I'll just keep buying CDs and video games.
That's it, yeah. Do you collect anything, Dave? What do you do?
Video games. So I got, stuff like that. All old. Some
proper
age shiznit that is for my Atari.
Nice.
So yeah, that's kind of like what I enjoy collecting. And the only vinyl I buy, I frame. So I'm the same as you. I frame my vinyl. So
but here's a fact for you: if you had bought Shiba Inu this time last year, if you'd bought 2 quid's worth, you'd be a millionaire now. How fucking good! How cool is that?
You just got to be really lucky, haven't you?
You have, yeah, and I'm going to be lucky this time.
I got a message today, and she'll kill me for this. I got a message today. So in the national lottery, you know where you have your numbers.
Yeah.
On the app, you can store your numbers so you can just apply at any time, right? The one she didn't put on, it was those exact numbers on the Euro Millions for 23 million.
No way.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
On the 26th of whatever it was last month.
I would have killed myself.
It was that recent, and I got the message through about 2 hours ago before this interview.
Oh,
no.
And she was like, well, I would have bought everyone a house, and I was like, it makes me feel sick.
Yeah.
I just can't even think about that because it's so yeah. That's my lesson to never miss one.
Yeah. I mean, I've put mine on abonnement on subscription now.
Yeah. That's exactly, you got it.
Oh, it's a nightmare. But yeah, I got a friend like that in work. Well, a colleague in work, and they do the postcode lottery.
Yep.
And
you get like 5 pence for that, don't you?
No, yeah, but
What one?
his street, because they do it per
Yeah,
street
yeah.
as well, and his neighbour, he was in the middle, and both his neighbours were doing the postcode lottery, and he never did it, and both his neighbours won a BMW and 25 grand each. And he came to work and he was like, "Oh, my neighbours, they won the
I know,
postcode
yeah.
lottery." I was like, "Oh, what a nightmare!"
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah,
But,
it's all too much chance for my. Like we were talking about it before, weren't we? You're a real chancer, you are, CT. So he could be out of the two of us, he could be a millionaire. I'll never be a millionaire. I'll always have to work for
I'll
somebody.
never be a millionaire either.
Yeah, and I always got to go to. It's the same. I don't even do online banking. I don't trust anything. I got to go into the
Oh, come
bank.
on.
No. I got to go into the bank and physically
bits of
see
gold
somebody
in the
give.
house.
Yeah, I got in
Dave.
pound coins in a big sack.
Dave,
Yeah,
there is
I-
no such thing as money anymore.
There is.
There's not.
There is. I have it. I got a big sack of it.
I
We
walk
know you've
around
got a
with
big
no
sack, but that's
pictures.
not money.
Yeah.
I don't even do anything on my phone. I got cards. But,
Because I barely even take my card out anymore. But this goes back to the point I made before. The whole world as a whole, so the industry in the 80s compared to now, it's like the social media thing. It's like bands rely on social media now, where that wouldn't have even been a glimpse. What was it, 40 years ago now in the 80s?
yeah.
Was it that long ago? Flipping
40
heck.
years, yeah, I always think it's like 2010 or 2000 or something. But yeah, that's the thing. So it's absolutely wild that we have to change with the times. And obviously, all of the things we've just mentioned have been milestones in technology or that kind of thing. And the adaptions that you got to do now. I mean, even the way you've got to advertise, it's all online, or you want to get it. The only reason Revival Black will have got the following that we've had was because we released our first album into the ether. Effectively, we just went, "Here's an album" to the internet, and we were so fortunate to get the momentum because the new wave of classic rock picked it up,
Yeah.
and all of the admins and the fans in there, because what it is really is a ready-made fan base of people who love music, who want to find the next cool rock band.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't have happened. I mean, there was like forums, I guess, 20 years ago, where that kind of thing would happen, or chat rooms online, but not to this extent. And then 20 years before that, you'd probably just have clubs or, like little unions, whatever it would be to do. And in 20 years, we might have something completely different, but it's thanks to that thing and technology, I guess,
Yeah.
is the reason that I'm able to stand up there playing shows, because someone might not have a bloody clue who I am, and I might never have been, spotted online to get a fan base in the first place, to then be able to sell tickets, to then, create a career in music. So it's you'd say pot luck, but you create your own luck.
Yeah, you have to.
And
Yeah.
you've got to move with the times in order to create that look, and it's really interesting.
Buy some Evergrow.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. All of the stories. yeah. I'm not leaving that as the bloody.
He's a big fan of trotters. You got to be. This time next year we'll be millionaires. He's got to be, hasn't he?
I will. Well, 2 years, I reckon I'll be a millionaire now.
Just
You
remember,
reckon?
room when it goes open in my phone.
Yeah.
My Evergrow grows.
Just remember me when you.
Oh, I will. Don't worry,
When you
Dave.
move to West Wales,
Yeah.
I'll come and live in the car park in a camper van.
Yeah. That's right.
All right then, mate. I'll let you get off.
No, honestly, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you guys and all the rest of it. It's been fun, really, really fun.
Oh, good. Thanks for
I'm
coming
glad
on.
you
Dan.
enjoyed it.
And I can't wait for the album to come out, man. It's going to be awesome. Like I said, for me, single of the year so far, and there's been a lot of really, really good albums out this year.
Huge praise, but thank
blown me
you.
away, man.
It means the absolute world to us, and to know how hard we've worked leading up to it, it means a lot to hear that. To be honest with you, it's been a lot of our personalities for the past 2 years, and everything's just gone into it, and the sleepless nights kind of make it worth it, especially when people enjoy it. So I appreciate that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And I'll see you soon at the show in Wales, man.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, guys. Cheers.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff. Cheers, Dan.
Thank you.
tired, because you'd rather spend your time blocking out these warning signs. If you told me to surrender, I would burn my beating heart. We could tear this world apart, but take hold of a little bit, take hold of a little bit of my love, 'cause I might not see you again. I know where you're going, but I don't want this night to end, 'cause I know I'll never see you again. Oh, I've read the signs. We were turning like the sun and moon, lighting up the sky. Do you mind? Can't you see my hands are tied? But tell you